Hello, this is Linda Hiemer, Senior Director of Graduate Law Programs for Seattle University School of Law. Thank you for joining today's webinar in our Master of Legal Studies program. We will be discussing the whistleblower, friend or foe, and this is to discuss the culture and how critical it is in compliance and risk management. And this is plucked directly from the headlines. So, again, I am the Senior Director of all of our graduate law programs, both on campus and online, and would be your academic advisor and support throughout this program in the Master of Legal Studies in Compliance and Risk Management. Anytime you need to reach me, you can call me directly on my office line at 206-398-4268, or you can email me at lawgraduateonline@seattleu.edu. I assure you that I will respond to your questions, phone calls, or emails promptly. So what are we going to do today? I know your time is precious and I appreciate you coming. We're going to talk about why Seattle University School of Law. I will give you a brief program overview, and then we'll get right into a hot topic so you have some takeaways. We're going to talk about whistleblowers. Then we'll discuss some next steps and have a short question and answer period. Again, after this webinar, if you have any follow-up questions or comments about the program, you can feel free to call me or email me. So why us? Well, there's a lot of opportunities for online education as well as campus-based education out there. And we appreciate that you have to make a critical decision about the return on your educational investment. So what I can tell you is that in our Master of Legal Studies in Compliance and Risk Management, we will enable you to learn, to benefit, to achieve, and to think. Now, we offer an opportunity to work with scholars and practitioners in the online classroom, both as guest lecturers, as course developers, subject matter experts, and as facilitators in the online classroom. You will also benefit from a 450-year-old Jesuit education tradition, but also a burgeoning, innovative, and globally focused Seattle business environment. We will focus on your individual personal and professional goals to make sure that this program is right for you, both in your decision-making now and throughout your academic life cycle. Finally, what we brag about in having a Master's of Legal Studies or a master's degree from a law school, you have the benefit of learning to think like a lawyer without being one. Now, that being said, I must assure you that in this program, we are preparing you to learn about the law and to problem solve through the lens of the law, but this degree does not prepare you to sit for a bar exam or to ever practice law. So just wanted that caveat in place, and part of your education will be in understanding the scope of your practice and how to leverage attorneys and work with the legal departments in your respective organizations. So again, when we talk about thinking like a lawyer, what do we mean? Essentially, we help you to frame the issues and solve problems that you may face both internally and externally in any industry and see those through the lens of the law. Now, usually in the C-suite or in meetings, a lot of people are thinking through the lens of business or through the lens of a particular industry. You would have the benefit of the business perspective and your industry's specific perspective, whether it's healthcare, trade, finance, cybersecurity, any industry that touches laws and regulations, and that's just about any business. But you'd be the person in the room who raises or thinks about the issue or problem through a legal lens. And how do we do that? Well, first, we structure the program around trimesters. This is fully online and it's part-time. It's designed for working professionals to complete the degree over a 2-year period, 3 terms per year for a total of 6 terms. In each term, you will have 5 credits, which are 2 courses that are designed to complement each other, both in sequencing and in the knowledge and skills that you attain in those courses. How much does it cost? Big question when you're thinking about the investment of time and money. Our current academic year tuition is $1,200 per credit, and that's the base tuition. There may be some additional fees as well as textbook costs that we do reveal in a cost of attendance worksheet that we can provide to you, and that also helps in financial planning or acquisition of loans. Anyway, we do design it for trimesters. In between each term, there's approximately 1 month in between, so you could take some time off and focus on a life, work, and study balance. And what kind of courses would you be taking? Well, over 6 terms in this 2-year period, we really thought about phasing. And we have a foundational phase, an operations phase, a concentration or specialization phase if you're interested, and then action, where you get to demonstrate that you have achieved what we said we'd set out in the outcomes. It's your capstone phase. So the first 2 courses you would take in the foundation, if you were to start on January 13th, you would take a course in legal analysis, research and writing, as well as the introduction to the American legal system for a total of 5 credits. And these give you the foundational knowledge in law, in legal analysis, and in communicating. And we focus on the types of research, the American system, and writing that you would do as a professional in compliance or in risk management. Then you move into operations, where you learn about the foundations of regulatory compliance, risk management, contract and policy drafting, as well as organizational investigations. And then we have myriad of electives available, starting your 2nd year or your 4th term, where you would concentrate on areas that interest you. And you do not have to apply at the time of application or at the time you enroll. You do not have to select a concentration, but these are the current elective areas that we do focus on. And then finally, in your last term, you would select an elective and you would engage in a capstone project that enables you to, again, come up with a report, a written document, a project that you can use both in an employment portfolio or to really just cap off your previous 5 terms of learning at a graduate level. So that being said, let's move into a topic, because again, informational webinars are critical, but I also want to expose you to some areas where you would be thinking about solving problems through a legal lens. And we know, again, plucked from the headlines right now, we're hearing a lot about whistleblowers. And frankly, it's fun to be the person, as you prepare for Thanksgiving, to talk about whistleblowers from the perspective of law. But really, what is law except a framework for society that is really grounded in social public policy? So interestingly, the whistleblower has always been someone who might be seen negatively in the light of our culture and society, as well as in the corporate context. And they don't have to be. Frankly, whistleblowing or notification goes back to early English times, as early as the 16th century, before we had police forces and we would police each other. And there was a law in England that if you failed to notify people that you had witnessed wrongdoing, you could be held liable and you could be thrown in prison. We actually still have laws on the books here codified in statutory form in 1909 and even most recently applied by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to a business person in Alaska who failed to report false claims by a business partner that were made to a federal agency. So there are situations beyond just formal whistleblowing statutes. The most recent and well-known whistleblowing statutes were in place from the False Claims Act, and that was Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, a time of great unrest in our society. There were a lot of people who were taking advantage of the Union Army and entering into false contracts and filing false claims for reimbursement. And it was Abraham Lincoln who notified the legislature to come up with some of the first whistleblowing statutes to reward people who disclosed graft or fraud that was being taken place against the federal government, and also protected their anonymity throughout the complaint process to protect them. So, under and behind any law, there's always some public policy consideration. And it's an understanding the context from which a law arises that helps you frame an understanding in how to approach it from a business perspective. That's why I gave you a little bit of history lesson, and that's what you would get out of this program. You can understand that we have a duality of systems in that laws arise from statutes, that is legislature enacted statutes, both at the federal and state level, as well as common law, which are through judicial opinions or cases that arise out of public policy and in response to societal needs. And when you're thinking through the lens of a business professional, whether you are actively involved in compliance or risk management, any leader in a company or manager, as well as employees, have to know their rights and understand liability and risk. So there's a dual risk when it comes to whistleblowing. First, what is a whistleblower doing? A whistleblower is alerting their company that there may be something awry, that the company itself or an individual within an organization has violated the law or may not be in compliance with a particular law or policy. So the whistleblower is protected to, in good faith, alert a manager or a company that something is amiss. So the organization faces liability based on the subject of the whistleblower's claim, and that's something that a risk manager or compliance official would have to address. Secondly, and even more importantly sometimes, as far as the cost involved, is the organization's liability if it retaliates against a whistleblower. And so there's this it could be conflated rather easily, but there's a delicate balance in making sure that not only the company addresses its potential liability in connection with the underlying wrongdoing that is alleged by a whistleblower, but simultaneously addressing a secondary source of liability to the whistleblower. So the whistleblower does not have to be presenting something that is true or factual. All the whistleblower needs is to have a good faith and reasonable basis to believe that what they are talking about or what they complain about is accurate. So those are some things to think about. And then there's retaliation. How do we protect a whistleblower from retaliatory action? Most commonly, it's through anonymity. we don't disclose who they are, especially during a complaint process. And then thinking about how to manage that and protect the liability, or to protect the whistleblower from possible retaliation under statutory law or case law, it's about managing and creating a culture that responds, that properly investigates, that trains and educates, and that takes action. And again, it's understanding the possible risks and liabilities, both from existing law that is codified in statutory form or case law, or your internal policies, and seeing how all of those systems interact in a general feedback loop to protect your organization and protect its employees. And that's how we manage that. And that's how we build this program, to expose you to the foundational knowledge that gives you the framework and solid foundation in being able to understand and interpret that legal framework. Then the operational phase of your studies, to know how to apply both statutory law, case law, or policies and procedures that are in place, to then build programs, investigate at an auditing or organizational and operational level, how to respond, how to investigate, how to conduct trainings and build in a culture for managers and employees alike, and how to act, how to own and be accountable, how to correct that, and how to prevent further exposure or liability, whether it's for a whistleblower who has disclosed that there may have been, for example, in an environmental, maybe hazardous waste that wasn't properly disposed of, but also how then to protect that whistleblower and encourage that feedback loop within your organization. So, is a whistleblower a friend or foe? Usually it depends on who you're speaking to and the culture of the organization you're in. We do know when it comes to governments that even in the Department of Labor, there are over 20 specific statutes that protect a whistleblower and that also oftentimes require mandatory disclosures. 20 alone that could affect any organization, whether it's through the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Labor, or any organization that deals at the federal level through contracts with the government or in a highly regulated industry. Similarly, at the state level, there are numerous statutes in place for states that relate to possible whistleblowing. So as a compliance officer or risk manager, you have to be aware of any possible federal statute that involves your organization, state statutes, but then also common law, normally arising in tort. Is there any responsibility you have to an employee to protect them from retaliation or wrongful conduct, a hostile work environment, based on their good faith belief that they are engaging in actions that are protected? So again, that's the landscape and the delicate dance that you have to be involved in. So an immediate response might be a whistleblower could be a foe, because we grew up even in the schoolyard. Don't be the narc. Don't be a snitch. Don't squeal. Don't tell mom or dad. Oftentimes society tells us that we should keep our mouth shut. Just mind your own business. But is that a culture that's conducive for a sustainable and scalable organization? And does it help you in the long run from an external or internal reputation, or in a positive work environment? Rather, can a whistleblower be seen or reframed as a friend? where you can create a culture of compliance that you can lead by example, encourage everyone in the organization to be accountable, and encourage everyone when they see something to say something. And if so, how do we protect that and how do we build that culture? Again, it's through developing a knowledge, the skills, and the values that could help you to lead by example in this compliance and risk space. So I pose to you, everyone who's joined today has expressed an interest in Seattle University School of Law and in our Masters of Legal Studies in Compliance and Risk Management. I've told you why Seattle University would be a good space, but now I pose the question to you, what kind of compliance or risk management professional do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind that sees a whistleblower as a friend or foe, or can manage both and see the dual liabilities and all of the systems and legal systems and regulatory environment, public policy and historical framework that has created and evolved this is evolving in this space for compliance and risk management? I like to think that all of you would like to be in this program and be ambassadors and support what we see really as our brand, that it's Seattle U, and we encourage compliance with a conscience. So, what's next? I think we all know that Abraham Lincoln was one of the first presidents to insist that we codify in some way and encourage whistleblowing to protect the government from graft and misuse of funds during the American Civil War. And what's interesting, as we prepare for Thanksgiving, it was also Abraham Lincoln who announced that the last Thursday in November would be for Thanksgiving, and it was to try to stop rioting, particularly in New York City during the Civil War, 1863, again, because of people being conscripted into the army and a lot of unrest over the Civil War. So understanding the context with which a lot of laws come into place and then being able to interpret them not only makes you interesting at cocktail parties, but it also makes you a valuable asset in your organization when it comes to understanding the regulatory landscape through which we all have to work to thrive. And how do we do that? We do that through learning to think like a lawyer without being one. And hopefully that's one of the main outcomes that you will see in this kind of program when you're making a decision about your next steps in professional development. So if you would like to take the next step, let's talk about what's next. I would encourage you to apply and apply now. We have a deadline of December 2nd. We have waived the application fee for our spring start. Our spring term cohort begins January 13th, and our deadline to apply is December 2nd. How do you apply? You can email or call me and say you're interested, or you can go to our online site, seattleulawonline.com, and click on the Apply Now button. The application is completed electronically. We do ask for official transcripts, but you do not have to obtain those official transcripts at the time of application. You can submit your application and be considered by the admissions committee while we are awaiting your official transcripts. You can request official transcripts from your prior institutions, normally electronically, and they must be sent under seal by mail or electronically directly from your institution. You can also contact us for more information about the program. Usually after applying, And securely and privately, you will have an opportunity to speak with our financial services team about options for paying for your education. Through your application and application alone, you will also be considered for merit scholarships. We do not offer full scholarships, unfortunately, but we do have a pool of funds that might be available for some partial scholarships based on merit and based on your application materials. The biggest question I often get in the application or stalling for people is the personal statement. They struggle. Students say, or prospective applicants struggle and say, I'm experiencing a writer's block. Really, the personal statement is an opportunity to tell the admissions committee why you want to join this program. It's just your opportunity in a few hundred words to tell us what brought you to this stage in your life and what you hope to get out of the program. Part of that is the opportunity for the admissions committee to see your written communication style, but to get to know you beyond transcripts and beyond just electronic applications. It's also about making sure that the program is right for you. This is a mutual experience, and we want to make sure that our program is the right fit for you, not just whether you're the right fit for us. We will respond promptly to all of your inquiries and to your application. The admissions committee meets weekly on a rolling basis, and you will often know within 1 week of submitting your application. So you could plan for the holidays and be ready to start your new professional program with us in mid-January. So again, our critical dates are December 2nd for a deadline to apply and to start your academic career with us on January 13th. Contact information, again, you can email us at lawgraduateonline@seattleu.edu, or you can call us at 206-398-4268. Finally, you can click on Apply Now and get your application started at seattleulawonline.com. I know that this is a quick webinar, and I do recognize your time is precious. I wanted to give you a little taste of some of the things you would be experiencing in this program to make sure I anticipate some of your questions, but I cannot anticipate all of them. We do have an opportunity for a Q&A now, or if you wanted to have questions answered privately, again, you can call me at any time. So I will take a moment now to see if there is any questions that will be typed in. One question has come in from an attendee asking about the types of jobs graduates can anticipate after this program. Excellent question. While this program is designed for working professionals, not all of our current students are working. Many of them have come knowing that they'd like to grow in leadership positions and require a graduate degree, or they are currently in leadership positions in myriad of organizations and industries and realize there's a gap in knowledge, usually in the legal or law-related framework. So this program will prepare you for any type of job in government or non-government companies where a graduate level degree is required. And many of those careers include healthcare administration, healthcare compliance, human resources, any type of management positions where you oversee people and have to understand law or regulations. It also prepares you for any business where you, as I said, if you're sitting in a business environment, a lot of people are looking at profit and loss statements, balance sheets, but you might be the person who says, let's look at this from a legal standpoint or a regulatory standpoint. From a government side, you might be, you could work in any government agency, from environmental agencies, departments of labor, the IRS, any opportunities where an understanding of laws and interpretation of statutes or an ability to speak, problem solve, and communicate in analytical ways can pay off. But we do anticipate that many of the jobs would be in everything from finance, corporate leadership, management, cybersecurity, human resources, education, just really the sky's the limit as far as opportunities. We do know, though, statistically, that one of the fastest growing careers, both domestically as well as in the Seattle area, is in compliance, as well as risk management roles. So it's an exciting career base. It's one of the reasons we chose this to be a program that a school of law would be offering. I hope that answered your question, but I'd be happy to get you more data if you'd like, and you can call me specifically. Another attendee wants to know how long this program's been around. Well, great question. Seattle University School of Law has been offering campus-based Masters of Legal Studies we're just going on 4 years now, because that's relatively new to law schools to expand beyond a law degree or a Juris Doctorate. Our fully online program just launched this fall of 2019. So offering a program fully online is new. The spring term would be the second term of students taking this fully online, but you would be part of a broader university, Seattle University, that has over 130 years in Seattle. The law school is getting ready to celebrate close to its 50 years. And then we've had numerous years of experience in offering master's programs at the campus level. So the newness is in the delivery through an online modality to reach really more professional and to allow for a more affordable and accessible education environment. I don't see any other typing or notification that questions are coming in. And again, I know many of you are on your lunch hour or into your afternoon, depending on your time zone. I do thank you for your time. If you have any questions that I did not anticipate or that follows up, we do have one question. The designation. What type of degree or letters after your name could you state after you graduate? This is referred to as an MLS. It's a Master's of Legal Studies, and it is equivalent to any master's degree or graduate level degree. So if you are applying for a job or people ask your level of education, it is a master's level degree. and it would enable you to apply for any job. Oftentimes, when I'm speaking to prospective students, they are saying they're considering whether to go for an MBA or go for a master's in public administration or a master's that focuses on the law. So those are some of the decisions they're making. We talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each program. But this is a master's level degree. It would not entitle you to practice law or to sit for a bar exam, but it would entitle you to pursue careers or advancement in existing careers where a master's level or graduate level degree is required. And we do recognize in the law, many people can no longer afford the time or money that comes with practicing law, and many people want to serve communities or be in business in law-related fields that don't require a law degree. Actually, the National Jurist is a publication for law students, and in its spring edition of this year, it recognized 20 of the hottest new careers in the legal field that don't require a law degree. And of those 20, or I'm sorry, it may have been 18 careers, 13 were in this compliance or risk management space. So similar to the role in medicine, where over the last 30 years, you no longer just see physicians or medical doctors and nurses, but there's broadening careers in nurse practitioners, physicians' assistants, and what they refer to as the allied health fields. We see that same demand and growth in demand in the law field, where you don't just go to law school to get a Juris Doctorate, but you could actually have myriad degrees, graduate level degrees, where you can understand the law and work in legal related fields without practicing law. And that's where we see this opportunity in innovative ways to enable people for 30 credits or fully online to get a quality legal education and graduate with a graduate level degree from a law school. And another attendee has asked if this is a bridge to a future Juris Doctorate or law school program. That's an excellent question. The American Bar Association, the ABA, accredits all law schools. Currently, it does not allow any law student to transfer credits towards a law degree from a graduate program. So if you were to enroll in this program and then want to go to law school, you would not be able to transfer credits. However, it would serve to prepare you to think about, do I want to go on? Because law school is a Juris Doctorate, so it's not uncommon for anyone to go from a graduate school master's program into a doctoral program, such as a PhD or an EDD or a PsyD. Similarly, there are opportunities, and I have seen situations where people who have earned a master's in legal studies have enjoyed it so much or realized they had such a passion that they then did enroll in law school. And I do know those students often perform better in law school because they've had the foundational knowledge, they've had the time to grow and mature. So it is a potential. I would not counsel someone to enroll in a master's of legal studies on campus or online, just to test the waters for law school. For one, there's the time factor, there's also the investment factor. We know that an education is critical for advancement, but it's also expensive. So if anyone is really thinking about, maybe I want to go to law school, just do it. Take your LSAT and really focus on your energy on law school. If that's the case, I'd be happy to counsel you or connect you with my colleagues who focus on law school admissions, and we could talk about what program may be right for you. And this program, again, is fully online, and it's designed as a part-time program to be completed within 2 years over a trimester, three 14-week terms each year for 2 years. We can be flexible for some students who may need to take a term off and take longer than 2 years, but it's designed as a part-time, fully online 2-year program. Well, I see we're getting close to 20 minutes towards the hour. I do thank you for your attendance, your engagement. I do hope that you apply. There's an opportunity. Again, there's no fee. Application, we would consider it within a week, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Here comes another question. Are the professors lawyers? Absolutely. Currently, all of our faculty teaching in our online program are either members of our existing faculty or they have earned a Juris Doctorate degree. It's not required to be a professor. We do require that you have a terminal degree. One example of one of the faculty members you would work with would be a professor who earned his law degree through Seattle University, coming to night school after 20 years of working in data and cybersecurity as an IT professional. That professor, Jerry Vergeron, also happens to be the director of cybersecurity for the entire university. So not only does he bring his knowledge and scholarship in the law, but he brings his practical experience of decades of experience in the cybersecurity space. He would teach the risk management and auditing course. Another professor who will be teaching foundations of regulatory compliance next semester is a former JAG officer in the Air Force, a Judge Advocate General, a former attorney with the Department of Homeland Security, and a current administrative law judge with the Social Security Administration, but has also been an adjunct professor for many law schools for nearly 15 years. So we bring a breadth of knowledge and experience. Our subject matter experts and professors also work at Microsoft, Amazon, and some of the other major companies, or were formerly employed with Seattle-based companies such as Boeing. So we hail from the scholar practitioner model. So your professors know what it's like to be part-time adult learners to achieve their goals, but also come from the practical aspect, both in doing prior to going to law school or as working as lawyers. So they give you that mix that every day in the classroom you would have a takeaway to bring back to your current careers. That's what we call making sure the education is timely and relevant, that you're not just waiting for experience and knowledge at the end of your program, but you are having takeaways every day in the classroom that helps to benefit you in your careers in a timely manner and then in a dynamic manner. Wow, great engagement. I so appreciate your attendance. My virtual door is open to answer any questions you have. And frankly, even if you're not ready for this program, this is low pressure. We really pride ourselves in being a boutique program, a one-on-one individualized program. And I'd love to hear from you about what drew you to, even if it's a 10-minute phone call, about why you were interested, why you may not be interested, so we can learn from you and make sure that we are anticipating the questions you have and building a program that is in demand for professionals like you. So thank you so much for your time. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to presenting your applications to the admissions committee. Best as we approach the holiday season, and please all be well. Thank you and good day.